and welcome to Guilds of the North, your source for Guild Ball news in the Great White North. As always, I'm your host, Paul Filio. Here this week with my regular co-host, that guy you all know, B. Steve.
Hey, Paul.
And our special guest co-host, a Mr. Kevin Stewart.
Hello.
From the magical land of Toronto.
Yes, that's me. Hello.
Hello.
And for the first time in ages, Paul, I'm the minority by being the only French Canadian on the show.
That's true. That's true.
I thought you were going to say
Kev?
only French speaker, and I was like, I speak French, and then I was going to laugh, and it was going to be funny.
Everybody speaks a bit of French in Canada.
Yeah, it's true. We also there's a few choice words we all know, right?
Family-friendly show.
Yeah, exactly. We all know the French church terms. Let's put it that way. So Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I will try not to talk too fast because I don't want to throw off your game from your regular podcasting partners. You know?
Oh, God. Yeah, you won't have to listen to me at, 175% speed for once.
I just remember the... And actually, I don't want to sound like I'm making fun of Phil because I'm not. It's just, he talks... He's a slow speaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he enunciates very well, and it's just the way it is. But I used to listen to Guild Ball Tonight on 1.2 speed.
Yeah.
And then he had a show with Jamie on it, and Jamie's a super fast talker. So it became a weird mix of either he could be normal speed and Jamie would be like a chipmunk, or, it'd be normal Phil speed and Jamie would seem only slightly faster than normal. It was an interesting experience.
Yeah, I believe it.
I have to say I kind of missed their show. I wish Bill and Phil would record again, but I think Bill's still playing Guild Ball. I don't know if Phil still is, so.
Who knows?
Yeah. Such is life, and now we have you.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, excellent. Antoine couldn't be with us this week. He's swamped with all kinds of
real life,
family life stuff. Yeah, that real life get in the way of our gaming.
Real life. Who needs it? Who needs it?
Yeah, exactly. If I could just game all the time, I'm going to become a gaming influencer. That's my goal.
Oh yes.
After my career is kaput where I am now, I'm going to become an influencer and a streamer. I'll wear low cut shirts and stream Guild Ball, and it'll be funny for many reasons.
Well, that sounds like a plan, Paul.
Yeah, we'll see how my revenue stream is. Yeah, I'm totally exhausted and off the rails. So let's talk about some stuff we've done recently, Steve, and then we'll get into the actual meat of the show.
Yeah,
where we'll talk about the Nova announcements for Steam for Guild Ball specifically, not the rest of the Steamforged stuff, because who cares about God Tier? And
it's not for us.
Exactly. And we'll talk about some new game plan deck cards that have been previewed. It'll be fascinating. But first, our crappy local stuff.
Well, I think it's the first time in several years we had 3 tournaments in 3 weeks. I guess.
That's pretty. Yeah. Does it really count if we organized all the events, though, Steve? Oh, actually, we didn't organize one of them.
The one in Ottawa, I didn't organize it, and the one in the last weekend, Warzone, I technically didn't organize it, but I begged everybody to come to it.
And weren't you the TO?
Yeah, I was the TO, and I got to play because I didn't want to have a buy at one of my events.
Yeah, so technically, I think you can call yourself the organizer, even if your name wasn't on the bill. Yeah. Okay. So let's start at the beginning. So we did 3 weeks ago. We did a little road trip to the town of Ottawa, our nation's capital.
The town. Wow.
Well, it's hardly a city.
I know.
Come on. I mean, jeez. Anyway, so a gentleman by the name of Connor McCurgo organized a little event out there at Out of the Box, like the name of the store was?
Yes, it was. It was my first time going to that store.
Interesting store, packed to the ceiling with product. So, if you're looking for something and you're in Ottawa, it's probably Out of the Box.
Yeah, they had several lines of painting and lots of
every miniature game I can think of,
and board game as well.
Is that the one?
And trading cards.
Is that in Gatineau?
No, it's the one. It's past the IKEA.
Oh, okay. So it's in Canada or something?
Maybe.
Sure. Okay.
But it's
I don't
not,
live in Ottawa. What do I know?
Yeah, but it's not like near downtown Ottawa. It's a bit outside in maybe the suburb of Ottawa. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not a geographical resource for Ottawa.
This is true. That statement is 100% true.
It was across the street from a butcher shop that did burger.
Yep, that made hamburgers. And they were delicious hamburgers. Yep. And I managed to dump a whole giant glass of soda on myself through my Hulk-like strength, where I squeezed the soda glass so hard that it exploded. And I still don't know how the hell I did that. But anyway, that was my lunch break. So we went there for a tournament. And ended up, a lot of people, I think 2 people canceled before it started.
Yeah.
The morning of. So it ended up only being 5, I think, right?
Exactly.
Because there was a bye.
And we were 3 from Montreal.
Yeah, 3 of us from Montreal and 2 local Ottawans.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the expression is for that. Yeah. And I was exhausted. Luckily, I got the bye in the first round, so I took a nap.
I've been there.
You guys played some Guild Ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Steve, talk about your game.
Well, I got crushed.
Quickly, don't be on.
No, I know. I won't talk about painting. I got crushed by Cooks. It was my first time facing them in season 4.2, and I was playing Mortician, and they dish a lot of damage, really way more than I expected. So I tried to contain Spice, which I was able to do most of the game with Obelisk, but the rest of the team was able to get in, and as soon as they get close, they can basically delete 1 squaddy per turn. So.
And I think you had to use a lot of your resources to keep Spice at bay, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was using Puppet Master every turn to walk her back so she wouldn't be too close. Trying to protect my players as much as I could, but in the end, it was brutal. I lost 12-2 or 12-0. Not too sure.
I think it was 12-2.
Yeah, I think I managed a kill, but I'm not sure. It was rough. And then my second game, I played against Daniel, and I'm in his blacksmith, and I was really not looking towards that because he keeps beating me with his blacksmith.
Well, we do call him the butcher for
yeah, exactly. Reason, right? But I managed to pull a win on that one. Played Scalpel and Gaffer and Gasket, and I don't remember who the rest of the team was. And
it don't really matter.
No,
right? You had Scalpel and Gaffer and
yeah, exactly.
Gas. That was it.
And it ended up with 12-8 or something like that, but it was still a close game. But I managed to, even though the score was kind of close, I was mostly in control all of the game. And last round I got the bye. So
right. And then my second round, which was technically my first game of the day, I played Paul and his cooks, so it was the Paul off. And I was playing Union. Right? I played Union that day, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was doing my best impression of Pete Williamson, because I played the same lineup every game. So it was, it was a good lineup. Vet Rage, Minx, Decimate, Benediction, Coin, and Hemlock.
It's a pretty good lineup.
Yeah, well, it's pretty versatile.
Yeah.
You got some footballing in there if you need it, and you've got a lot of toolboxy and a lot of damage output, so. And it's not very influence hungry.
And you've got Minx, who's maybe the best model in the game right now.
Yeah.
Certainly up there, yeah. I don't understand people that cry about her now. I don't get it. Anyway. But I suffer on clock, so I wanted to stick to a team where influence allocation was easy, so I wouldn't lose time trying to figure out where I want to put my influence. And also, I figured if I stick with the same models all the time, then I'll get faster with them, and then I can swap models in and build up familiarity with one model at a time as opposed to trying to learn a whole lineup at a time. And it worked well. I managed to win against Paul. It was a close game, like 12-10 or something, and our clocks were both low. I managed to kill enough play. The problem is, once you've started killing players, you bring them back, unless you dedicate resources to healing them, they just die super easy, right?
That's true.
Well, especially with Minx, who has a damaged target, so you can charge them from really far away.
Yep. And, well, you know, even axe throw becomes deadly, right? Models come back on with 6 health, and you hit them for 3, and they're snared. Like, uh-oh.
Yep. That's a rough scene. Minx does bad things to people.
She touches them in bad places. This is true. But on the whole, it was a great game. And then the last round I played Connor, who was the organizer, and he was playing Alchemist, Midas.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I played the same lineup. And I just decided I was gonna get a hold of the ball if I could and hold on to it. So he made a, first turn Midas goal 'cause he received.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kept the ball.
And
I was like, it'll be okay over here. You can just come to me to get it. And then he tried. And it didn't work out.
No.
Hemlock with smelling salts is really good into Alchemist. Good period, but...
Yeah, like, the weird thing about that is you don't even need it, because Benediction's aura just heals everything, so you're like, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, I don't care. Put
and then
conditions
he tried
on my guys.
He figured he would wade Vet Catalyst into me, and just, that he figured that would distract me for a long time while he was trying to do other stuff. And Vet Catalyst has a ton of health, but it's only 2 defense. And with that 1 armor, and let's say I slam into you with Decimate, who ignores that 1 armor, and then I throw 1,000 cuts on you, and then everyone's got +2 dice to hit you, basically.
Yeah.
It's,
He's gonna melt.
Yeah, he died in 2 activations.
Yeah, it's
and
not...
he never got to do anything.
And you farmed a lot of momentum out of that.
Yeah. And that was the thing. I don't think Connor ever had the initiative in any turn, because I was always sitting on like 5 or 6 momentum, and he couldn't do anything because his players kept dying. I think in 1 turn I killed Catalyst, Crucible, and wait, which one is the one that looks like she's throwing fire? Is that Crucible?
Crucible's got the sensor. She's like a 2. Yeah, she's like a striker.
She's on the 40 mil with 2, a plague sensor bearer from Fantasy.
Yeah. So I killed Crucible, and I want to say, is there a Mercury?
Yeah, Mercury is the one with the fireball in his hand.
Yeah, so I killed those 3 models in 1 turn.
Yeah, the thing about Crucible is that she's just like made of wet paper, so you just hit her once and she's just gonna explode.
Well, I think he ran up and tried to use the Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah.
And it failed to hit Hemlock.
That will happen.
Well, because she's 5 and it's only 2 dice, so unless...
And I think there was a crowd out going on, so he was crowded out.
Oh, okay.
So he was rolling 1 die trying to hit a 5.
Well, that's not how
it just didn't work, yeah. So, and then they were all there, so I ate them. And, that game, I think he managed to score twice, with Midas, but lost Midas once in that exchange. But it finished 12-8, I believe. Good game. Connor's a really nice guy. Appreciate him running the event. And yeah. And then, we drove back to, Montreal after that. It was a good day. Good day of gaming.
Yep.
And then the following week, I decided to run what I affectionately call PolCon, which is once or twice a year I get a bunch of my friends together and run something. So we had was it 8 man? It was 7. We had 7 people, right?
Yeah, because of Yon.
So we did a 7-man Guild Ball tournament, and I bought the tournament kit and everything, and it was on Longshanks, and we set up tents outside, and I provided food for everyone, and we had booze, and it was a good time.
And we had
in your backyard?
Actually, in my mom's backyard in the country, because I have a tiny little city backyard.
Okay. I was like, wow, that's a pretty big backyard.
Yep, my mom has about 2.5 acres of lawn, so we have plenty of room to...
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the weather happened to be like pretty perfect for it. And it was a good day, and we got started late. But we finished on time.
Yeah.
So somehow. I don't know how we started an hour and a half late, but finished on time. I guess we had some fast rounds in there.
And you won it again?
Yeah, I won it again. But you can talk about your game, Steve. Anything interesting happened there?
Well, I started the day by facing Daniel again. And this time he took his revenge on me and he won. Actually, I clocked out that time. And I was down to last activation, and it ended up 12-10 is in his favor because he scored 2 points with clock, and I couldn't close the game after being in my
Your overtime?
Yeah, in my overtime.
I think you were playing Hunters this time, right?
No, I don't play. I was still playing Mortician because I cannot play Hunters in the gaming group now because they kind of don't like it. It's too much of a negative play experience.
I thought I saw a picture of your goal, but maybe you were using your blue skull goal with Morticians.
Well, Steve does have an excellent goal.
Yeah.
With Hunters.
Yes, Paul, I do. Thanks. So I was using Mortician again. Second game was against G and the Ratcatcher, and I went for Obelisk and actually Bonsa and Gaffer, and because I received, so I was able to do a first turn goal quite easily with Bonsa, because you can get up to 10-inch of kick with Gaffer, so that's pretty nice. And then, actually, it was really fast, because he kicked back, he scored back, and then I was able to do another goal with Obelisk at the start of the second turn, because 7 influence Obelisk is still a thing, and he's still quite mobile, even though, like, he's not his former self from season 2, but he's still quite good. So I was able to score back, and then the scatter back was favorable to me, and 2 activation after I was able to get the ball back and score again. So it was 12-4, but it was really quickly, and it was 2 goals. Actually, it was 2 goals from Bonsa. So, and last game was against Alchemist and Chris. And he took smoke, and actually he clocked himself really, really quickly compared to me. He spent a 9-minute activation on smoke because he was blind into, Casquette's aura. So basically couldn't move, and he was trying
-5 move?
-4.
Oh, his move penalty is -2. 3-inch radius, but -2. Yeah.
Exactly. Plus blind was -2 as well, and smoke is a 4-6. So he was trying to figure out, like, okay, do I throw smoke here, jump, try to sprint to get the ball off Vetemlock, who was in the back further down my line near the deployment line. So, like, he lost tons of time on that. But Vet Catalyst, I kind of saw, because it was my first time facing him, and it's quite good. Sure, you can farm momentum, but when he starts to hit, he does a lot of damage.
Yeah, I really think the best way to deal with him, if you're going to try to kill him, is to, make sure he doesn't charge into you and start beating on him first.
Yeah.
So you'll take a little bit of damage when he activates, but then he'll die, and then he has to try to make it back to the fray. So it buys you time.
Quicker than you think. He's a 6'8", right? So he's not, like, totally slow.
No, but he'll still buy you a turn.
Yeah. I think the thing with him is that if you knock him down, which is not hard, that's where you want to be. Knocking him down means that he's kind of limited in his mobility. And he can't just counterattack and push you away. So, yeah. That's probably what I do, but again, I haven't played against him.
Yeah, no, that's sound advice. I mean, most of those big bruisers, right, if you knock them down, they become a whole lot less effective.
Yeah.
Pretty good standard practice.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, knock down the big models.
And so, I think it was like 4-2 for me or something like that when he clocked out of his 45 minute, and still had 19 minutes on my clock. So. And that was it for my part.
Let's see. First round, I also played Chris. He was playing Midas into me. And I don't remember many details of the game. I know he was surprised by how quickly Vet Catalyst died. I was once again playing that same lineup I'd played the week before. So no changes. And I think I managed to get Vet Rage into Catalyst with like a crowd out and a Heroic up. And
that won't go well for Catalyst.
Yeah. And I think I'd softened him up first with a snare. So I'd axe throwed him, snared him.
Was pretty much game over
Mark
at that
targeted
point.
him. Yeah, it was like he was not going to do so well. So he died horribly. Chris did manage to score a couple goals, so I think it finished 12-8.
Well, Midas will score now because he's so fast.
He's super mobile.
Yeah.
I think I like the way they tooled him. I think people just need to figure out how to best apply him.
Because where they go instead of acrobatic is huge, and the double, the push dodge on the second column is so easy to get. And if you do fulmination, that's a 2-inch dodge with a push. So it's really, you're moving where you want, actually.
Yeah, and my Union lineup is mostly 1-inch melees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem with Union. It's like
his unpredictable movement is a big deal. Because it's okay, I managed to pin him in. Like, I managed to surround him by 3 models. So that he couldn't go anywhere.
But it's a good thing quick time now is only 1 influence.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, so. It was a fun game. Always a fun game with Chris. Second round, I played Danielle, who hadn't really played much into Union. And he played... Well, I thought it was a ball-playing team. Because it was captained by Ferris and had Bolt, Cutlass Culverin, Furnace, and Cinder. But he ran up the field and I killed someone so quickly, he then pulled the ball back to his goal and stood there with it and like surrounded it, trying to figure out how to get it out without having to fight me. So I ended up moving everyone in his end of the field and just melting them. Yeah. And he couldn't move the ball because he was scared as soon as he would that whoever had the ball would just get eaten. So, I think, I don't remember what the end score was. I know I won, and I think I won by a pretty big margin. It may have been 12-4 or something. It was a fun game, for me anyway. Daniel's a great opponent, right? So he's super chill and relaxed, and he doesn't like to lose. Like, he's a competitive player, but he's a graceful loser, and he's a gracious winner. So, it's a real pleasure to play against him. And then on the other hand, I played Yom in the finals, and, Yom's actually a great player too. I quite enjoy playing Yom. We don't get to play very often. And, he'd gotten the bye the first round because he was coming from far away. And then it turns out because we started so late because of a snafu at the beginning of the day, that he showed up just as we were about to start. So he took the first round by and cleaned some models and did some hobby stuff at the end of the table while we played. So in the last round, I ended up playing him and his brewers. And it was a super crazy, grindy game. In the end, I don't remember what the finals, I don't remember exactly. I think it might have been 12, I think I won 12-11.
Yeah, which is down to last activation. And
I was clocked out, or I was on my overtime. So if I didn't win with that last activation, I'd lose the game. Pardon me. So it came right down, and I was like down to the last minute on clock. It was really, really like a nail biter. And, I'd taken out Spigot the round before. I had Minx with the ball, kind of between his deployment line and the center field. And I won initiative. So I put 4 influence on Minx, charged into Spigot, who'd just come on the field.
And he was
a marked target, right? He was damaged, right? So, it wasn't marked target, but he was damaged, so I had the extra 2 inches. So I raced into him, hit him once, dodged off, and then was tap-in range to the goal. So that gave me the momentum I needed to score. So I rolled my 2 dice and prayed for tap-in, and I got it. So I won that way.
That'll work.
Yeah, because it was 11-8 at that point, I think, yeah. And then he lost at 12-11.
Sad way to go.
Yeah, I think he was a bit frustrated. Not with losing, but I think he was like, oh, I shouldn't have brought Spigot on there. It was stupid of me, and that's what did it. Like, well, even if Spigot wasn't there, I could still reach Vet Decimate, who I'd also killed previously, so she was also wounded, so I could have done the same thing. It just maybe would have been a little less optimal.
Yeah, because with a single dodge, you might have been still engaged to her or something.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly, and maybe she could have done something, tackled the ball, done something to him, who knows. But mind you, I still did have 3 other influence on Minx. I only need 1 to score.
Yeah.
And I think Benediction was up the field, so actually I don't think I needed any to shoot to score. Well, actually, no, it's a pass only, so I still needed 1. Yeah. But I still could have got a couple more hits and to generate some momentum to take the ball back. I could have done something. But anyway, it was certainly less optimal than killing Spigot with his 1-inch melee. Or, poking him again. I don't think I killed him, but.
No, you didn't, but you poked and dodged.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I won PolCon. Yay! Funniest moment of the day was when my family came home that night after all my friends had left and I'd finished cleaning up everything. And I told my sister, she asked how it went, and I told her I'd won. And she was all like, well, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? Shouldn't you have let your friends win so that they have fun and that they come back? I'm like, no. That's not the way these games work.
I mean, we did have fun and we're gonna come back again, even though you won.
Yeah. Despite the fact that I won, yeah.
But next time we're gonna ask, for a special, a batch of cookies, just so we don't empty the jar from your mom.
That's right. My mother had homemade cookies hiding in the kitchen. And I made the mistake of telling the guys, so there was lots of cookies had.
And last weekend, the 3rd week in a row with a Guild Ball tournament, it was Warzone Montreal. So it was a big gaming convention. It was a 2nd year they're running it, but first year was only 40K basically. And this year it was all kind of tabletop gaming and board gaming, and there was also a bit of RPG as well in some rooms on the Friday night. And so we managed to get a 7-player plus me, so it was 8-player for a 3 rounds Guild Ball tournament. And I decided to try the cooks. So Paul lent me his model, and I've never played them, and I decided to test them on the day of. They're pretty good. So, first game was against Fish. He was trying to do the Battle Shark Galactica tactic, but I was beating him more than he could. So, because
I don't know if that's really good into a damage focused team.
Because Spice just deletes player. It's incredible. Because especially was bunching up a bit, so I was able to chef special, sprint, and then do hot chili cook-off on like 3 players at one time. So that will kill player. Like 5 damage on 3 players.
That sounds broken.
Yeah. Fair and balanced, Paul. Fair and balance. It's once per turn, so that's why it's balance.
Oh, is that what they told you in the instruction book?
Well, that's what I kept telling me when I was doing it, so I wouldn't make my opponent cry.
So you wouldn't feel guilty about being abusive? It's only once per turn. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only once per turn.
It's only once per turn. It's only once per turn. And so I won that one. Oh, I did I score that one? No, I didn't score. Second game was Cook's Face Off. And I won 12-6 or 12-8, 12-6. And I did 2 goals, actually. 1 goals I received. So I tried to go with a goal with, Shank. And on the first turn, since I was receiving, I was able to dodge him, and he was in range to score with, 4 influence. So, because I wanted to have the edge on the scoring, so a goal is the way to go fast. But then after we just exchanged killing each other's player, and it was a kind of brutal. And after that, my last game was against David, guy from Ottawa. he was playing Hunters, and I got crushed 12-2 or 12-4, something like that. Because he was mainly like doing hit and runs with J-Car and Egret, and then slowly advancing with the bear, but I couldn't keep killing players. I managed to kill Egret and the mascot and another player. I think it's Minerva or Steeljaw, but no, it didn't go that well for me.
Was that Dave Sawyer?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
He beat me very badly the one time we've ever played. So
he's a good player.
He is good. Yeah. I only played him in just straight up season 4, so the bear was a little on the, let's say, broken side, to say the least.
And so I ended up 2-1, and I finished second place. And David won the event.
Yeah, I for my 3 rounds, first round I played Alchemist.
Wait, did you play Union, Paul?
Yes, I played Union. Yeah.
Did you play the same 6 models?
I played the same 6 models. And I had a very close game, actually. I don't remember exactly what had happened, but I had lost... like, the tempo of the game started off, really in my favor, and then I kind of lost it partway through, and then I had to struggle to regain it to win. And I was, like, almost clocked, and... I think I don't remember what the score was. I think it might have been like a 12-10 win for me or something, but it was very close. It was a super good game. And my last activation, yeah, he had the ball, he was going to score. The last activation I had, because I was almost out of clock too, I had to activate a model and kill 2 of his models with it to win. And what I did was I had Minx... I think it was Minx parked... No, I had Decimate parked in melee with someone. With, again, the chick with the sensor whose name I can never remember.
Crucible.
And so and she'd come back on the field, she was low health. She was like at 6 hit points or something. Or possibly less.
She comes back on at 7.
Yeah, she was at 2. So I Red Furied Decimate, who was in Rage's 4-inch range, and she poked her to death. And then Rage, quick timed out of melee and then charged in and ate someone. And then I won the game. And I think my opponent was a little down about that. Not upset, but like a little surprised that it happened and a little down about that whole interaction. But it was a really good game, really tight. And then my second round I played Daniel. Oh no, sorry, my second round I played David. And I don't know, I'm gonna blame Strange Narcotics or something. Because I was like, I'm gonna play something,
food.
I'm gonna play something different, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna play, he's playing Hunters, I know he's gonna play, Steeljaw, like, I'll play Blackheart. I'm gonna try play ball, do something. I'm like, okay, I'll take Blackheart. And then I was like, okay, I'll take Coin, because that makes sense. And then I'm like, I'll take Snakeskin and Hemlock, and I don't even know who else I took, but it was a lineup that made no sense at all, because I said I kind of had something in mind, and then I changed direction partway through. So ended up with this kind of mismatched lineup that really had no way of really winning, because it wasn't really good at getting the ball back to score, and it wasn't really good at doing any damage, because I didn't take regular Rage or Fangtooth or anyone useful. So it was bad. I did manage to kill his mascot. I killed Fahad, and I scored once. So I lost like 12-5. I'd almost made it 12-9 at one point, but then things went horribly wrong when I had a 4-die tap-in goal and rolled 1-1-1-2.
Oh, that sucks.
That's not ideal.
Yeah, that was less than perfect. And then again, I had the ball a second time, or a third time at that point, and I flubbed a goal or a pass or something, lost control of the ball, did something crazy stupid. And also it was a weird game in that positioning. He ended up all bunched around his own goal. which wasn't really what he was going for either. And like at one point, I had Snakeskin in melee with the bear at 6 defense, and the bear just couldn't kill her. The bear was like dropping 3 attacks into her and doing 3 points of damage every turn. So I was healing her, so she just would not die. It was very frustrating for him. And eventually he trapped her with 2 players, the bear and Steeljaw, and 5 traps on the ground, and pushing her to trigger all 5 traps.
Yeah, with the legendary.
Yeah. But he had to do a lot of work to kill her, so it was pretty satisfying on my part. But yeah. Super fun game. We were both almost out of clock. Yeah, just weird game. And then in my third round, I'm like, oh, it's Danielle, okay, no problem. He played Cutlass and Culverin, Culverin being his captain, Anvil, Sledge, Furnace, and Vetcinder. So I'm like, I know what this lineup does. It's just a beat face lineup, no big deal. If I avoid Sledge most of the time, I'll be okay. And if I can engage Vetcinder before she engages me, it should be good. And then I failed to do that. So I lost a couple models right at the beginning of the game, which was not planned. So at the end of the first turn, or second turn, it was like 4-4, because we each done 2 takeouts. And then he managed to score a goal, which I forgot to mark down. And then I took out a bunch of players, so it was 8-4 in my mind, when it was actually 8-8. And then I brought it up to 10-8. And then I was like, excellent, it's 10-8, and he's got a bunch of wounded models. Next activation, he'll die. He's got the ball right now, no big deal. He'll score, he'll go to 8 points, I'll get possession of the ball again, and then I'll kill someone on my activation, and I win. So then he goes and he makes the goal, and he's like, good game. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I just won. I'm like, oh, right, you made a goal before. Right, I'm an idiot, right, okay. And it was stupid because I had Hemlock there with influence on her to go and take the ball if I decided I needed to, and I decided that I didn't need to do it because Sledge had the ball. I'm like, I can just run Hemlock in, I could take that ball if I wanted to, but I don't need to because it doesn't matter if he scores. Except it totally mattered if he scored.
It did matter.
So that was pretty funny. I had a good laugh at myself. Like I said, it's always a pleasure playing Danyan, so losing to him is just as fun as winning against him. And I got best painted for the day because David had the best painted army, but was already winning first place, so I got the consolation prize. That's okay, I'll take it. It's another coin to add to the collection.
And the random melee was Icarus at that tournament.
Yes, which is a nice change because the last 2 random minis we'd seen were Plowmen.
Is he the common? They're different rarities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's one of the commons along with Iron.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got an Iron at the first tournament I ran with the kit at the Abyss.
Okay.
Yeah, but I ordered 2 kits for PolCon, one for me just to farm a mini and one for the convention, and then they both happened to be Plowmen. So it was kind of disappointing that, 100% of the 2 kits I bought were the same model.
Yeah, I mean, there's the thing about that rarity is there's only 4 models, right?
Yeah.
So the chances, even if they're all equal, of you getting the same or not, they're not that bad.
No, for sure.
So, yeah, the whole rare, I find the rarity thing to be strange, but
yeah,
I get why they'd want to do it. But I can just see them being equal rarity as well. You know what I mean?
Well, they could have just done 4 model for that period and then do 4 other for another period, and that kind of create rarity in itself.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know how long they plan for the box to be around. Like, if they want it to be a year, then I could see them wanting it to not just be okay, well, everyone has all these models now. But I don't know. I just find random to be a little odd, especially when there's only 4 models to pick from.
Yeah, and I think it was supposed to be yearly cycles, but I don't think that'll happen. I think it'll be longer.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a year.
Well, I guess time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see next year. We'll see.
Because those just came out, right? They were supposed to come out earlier, but they came out late. So I guess they came out around just before Canadian Nationals, right? Canadian Nationals, somewhere in there. May, June.
They came out, I think, after? Because we didn't get any for that.
Yeah, it was after the Nationals.
Okay, so it was like July of this year.
Yeah.
I think so. It was like July or August. It might have been July, I think. But, we got a while before we have to worry about another set of those, so we'll see what they do.
And speaking of new models...
Speaking of...
oh, wow! I made a segue. Oh, yes. They announced a bunch of new models. Well, new and old.
New old stuff?
New and old and old and new. Guild Ball models at the Nova... When was it? First weekend of September?
Yeah, last weekend, August, 1st of September. It was.
Yeah. Labor Day weekend, NovaOpen.
PulCon weekend, actually.
Yeah, well, yes, PulCon weekend because we could not go to Nova this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately.
So they announced that they're going to stick with the resin schedule that was previously announced in the tinfoil hat video.
I think that one of the things that came up that I don't know if they announced it in that thing. They're using a new resin vendor.
Yeah.
So I think that the schedule, my personal speculation is that the previous resin vendor was not quite up to the task. Maybe they gave them really good test models, but then when they came to do the full production run, it was obvious that they were not up to snuff. And I think that then sourcing a new vendor just took them a while.
And that's why we don't see the third wave of Captain and the Butchers yet, I think.
I think that's the best explanation I've heard.
Because the new vendor has done the free city draft models.
Yep.
And we saw, because we got some models, and I received my Cami as well to review, and she looks really good. And actually, her casting is better than the gaffer that I got. There's less flash on her, and she's pretty... Well, the sculpt was really nice, but the casting itself is better than the gaffer one I got.
Yeah, I have my... I'm holding it right now, the Nomad that I got, and I painted it up, and it's a really nice model. Like, I didn't have to clean anything, and there wasn't even a single mold line on this thing. Crazy. So, I can't complain about the newest models. I think they're all...
Well, maybe they handpick yours so you wouldn't complain.
Oh, yeah. Like, they handpick mine. They know I've been waiting so long for Nomad that they're like, we better give this guy a good one.
I mean, my Knuckles wasn't perfect, so I can't... that's the only experience I have.
I also got a Knuckles. I gave it to a friend after giving it a look over. I didn't... Like I said, I didn't paint it up myself, so I didn't give it that kind of close attention to detail. It wasn't bad. I didn't notice anything, but maybe.
I had a giant mold slip flash on the whole right hand side of the model,
Yikes.
like from basically under his ear all the way down his arm, like. So yeah, there was like a giant furrow in him.
Yikes! I have the original limited Flint, the one that's kicking the ball. And that was their original resin vendor, and mine has a mold slip in that one. It's kind of awkward, but you make do. Yeah,
I'm not complaining for the free model they gave me, and in resin you're always going to have something, right? It wasn't so bad it was unfixable or anything. I didn't care enough to fix it. So
yeah,
that's on
the
me.
Thing. It's like one of those things. Like, it's not that big a deal most of the time, but. The stuff I've seen, like the Nomad I have, is like flawless, so hopefully they can keep that up.
Yeah, because the Alchemists are coming up this month. So towards the end of the month is 3 date, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if they've given the actual date yet, so...
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's in September.
Oh, well, so. I have the date, but I don't know if I want to say. So.
I don't think you are. That's what I was dancing around.
Well, I don't know, actually, because it's up for pre-order for resellers,
For
right?
retailer, yeah.
Right. Yeah,
so presumably retailers must be able to give customers a delivery date.
When is it up for pre-sellers? Pre-sell? Soon. It's on pre-sale now. Is it?
I've ordered them.
Awesome. Well, cool. That's great. So what do you guys think of if we're going to start with Alchemist, what do you guys think of the Alchemist new sculpts? Because there's only 3 or 4 new sculpts.
I don't like Monkey Boy.
Catalyst? Regular Catalyst?
Yeah.
I think they were trying to go with a 3-point stance, like a football player.
Yeah, I
but
understand.
It does not translate.
No, it looks pretty horrendous.
It's rough.
No, it doesn't look good. But what I like, though, is the fact that they kind of kept the scale for regular Catalyst and veteran Catalyst, so you can see the transition in between both models.
They made him a little big. Veteran Catalyst is still bigger, but it's not like such a different model like the first one.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see the link between both models a bit better. But I'm not fond of the gorilla stand of regular Catalyst.
I don't know. He looks like he's a big fat guy, which
he's got
being a fat guy. I have nothing against fat guys, but
no,
that's not the way the original sculpt was, right?
Yeah,
no, he was.
So it's weird.
He's got too much pec. He's got just these giant pecs.
Yeah,
and if
he's just doing the Bolo Young,
he skipped leg day too many times.
Yeah, exactly.
And from that box, Vitriol has been resculpted as well.
She makes more sense as a model.
Exactly. She's less prone to breaking as well.
Yeah, can you imagine that pose in resin? That original pose?
Yeah.
Mine has held together pretty good, my Vitriol, even in metal. But the new one looks better.
Yeah. Agreed.
And in the other box, I think I'm the only one who preferred the new Smoke sculpt compared to the old one, but
I like the new Smoke as well because I think the old Smoke's legs don't make sense.
And the smoke around her looks less bubbly, and this one looks more natural, I think.
Yeah. It's a better sculpt. It's hard to tell in the 3D renders, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
The real highlight, obviously, of the whole team is Veteran Catalyst, who I like my old veteran. So funny story. This is the Wayback Machine. When they used to do resin, they got rid of the original resin vendor, and the last models to be released in resin were going to be the last 4 Season 2 models. So that was Vitriol, Siren, Catalyst, and I forget who the other one is. Not Vitriol, Velocity. And so, if you pre-ordered them, they did your resins, but if you didn't pre-order them, there was no resin. So I'm one of the very few people that has the resin Veteran Catalyst, so I don't have to carry around a Warjack-sized model. I mean, I do, but it weighs nothing.
Cena.
Yeah, so I don't have a big, heavy Catalyst. So I actually like that model, but the new one is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's...
I don't know, that weird mutating arm thing, the arm that's as big as his waist and ends in a sledgehammer weird blob of flesh.
Well, I think it's going to be nice once painted. There's going to be an opportunity to do oh crap, the cat. Sorry about that. And you can do the juice flowing through his arm more than on the other arm, the smaller arm and stuff like that. I think there's painting opportunity there.
There is. I just like his kind of more vertical stance. It kind of opens him up in a way that, he looks like he's ground pounding, right? He looks like he's going to smash something.
Well, he's going to...
Yeah, for sure.
He's going to be looking menacing and imposing on the field, for sure.
And now that he's a pretty good centerpiece model for your team, it's nice to have a big, kind of centerpiece model to be, just put on the table. So that translates nicely.
Yeah. And
I can see that. He'll certainly be eye-catching, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the trend that they've gone towards. I think they started with miners, and we'll see later with shepherds. They're really starting to put centerpiece models in teams that are the bigger than average kind of you want to play this team because you put this model on the table, which is something that maybe has been a little bit lacking. But I think they're going towards more just you want to play the tank, you want to play Mule, you want to play Veteran Catalyst, etc.
Something eye-catching. Yeah, I think so. Well, actually, for me, I started to play Mortician because I love the casket model. So.
Right. Yeah, I think that there's some history of like, models like Cena and whatever that have kind of been like, this is different than the rest of the models in the game. I think if you look across teams, you start seeing like you can put together, okay, there's Colossus, there's whoever, right, that kind of sticks out and like looks big and kind of.
Well, the brick resculpt is something like that as well.
I think the brick doesn't look too much different. I wonder if they just made it a little bigger.
Yeah, the pose looks the same to me. Not that I'm an expert, but
I thought
it's hard to tell in the render, obviously, right?
I thought he looked different the way like he's putting his hand on his knee. It's not like the kickoff one, but
I mean that's possible. Like I didn't look in detail.
Marbles looked bigger though.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to the Mason's Fox?
Yeah. Might as well.
Yeah. I mean the honor pose is really good. I really like that honor. I think Tower is really good. The kind of He-Man pose.
Yeah.
So
Hammer is exactly like his art card.
Yeah, he's a little bit less
running
coming at you.
Yeah.
His abs are still sticking out though, so they stuck with that choice.
Oh wow, yeah. Is that actually an opening in his shirt?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't have a boob window. He has an ab window.
Yeah, for sure. Doesn't need armor on his most vital parts. He's got rock hard abs. So it's like you kind of protect your intestines, but he's like, no, look at my abs.
Abs of steel.
Yeah, they must be.
He's like the Terry Crews of Wheelball.
Yeah, kind of. Really anti-porn. Anyway. Yeah, so I think the thing that's odd to me, like, so I'm not going to buy any of these because I already have most teams, and I don't want any more teams anyway. I don't know if it's a missed opportunity. I don't know how much time they had to dedicate to things, or what they were looking at exactly, but if you're trying to sell to the same audience the same thing, it feels almost like there's not enough new sculpts, because I think there's only 4 per team.
Masons, there's Flint, Honor, and Marble in that box.
And Harmony. Harmony has like kind of a new, she's cleaned up more than, she's not really new, she's cleaned up.
And in the other box, there's Tower and Hammer.
Yeah, I think that Masons are interesting because the Mason sculpts, the original ones, those were like the first sculpts that they did for the whole line. So
and they were tiny.
Yeah, it's real obvious that, and even the kickoff ones were okay at best. So
yeah,
they were kind of in need of it, but I think looking at Alchemist, it's like, well, there's only 4 new models in here.
Yeah, but they're resin, so for people like me who prefer resin over metal for painting and chipping, I don't really mind that there's only 4 resculpt in those 2 boxes.
Right. I mean, it depends on if you have it already. And look, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. Buy whatever you want. But I would have liked to see
actually
maybe a couple.
I had them in metals, but I sold them when they announced the Resin Redo
like a year ago.
A year and a half ago, something like that. So I was looking forward for the release.
Yeah. And I think the other one we saw was Brewers?
Yeah, Brewers. And, well, there's not much change into them from the kickoff. But
Hooper has a new sculpt, so you can actually tell them apart.
Exactly. That was my point. Like, actually, now there's a bigger difference between Hooper and Tapper, so it's easier to differentiate them on the pitch. And
Mash has a new model, I think.
Yes, his paddleboard is on the ground instead of hitting somebody with it.
And I think Stave lost most of his trail of froth from his mug.
Yeah, probably.
Or from the barrel or whatever it is.
That seems hard. Seems pretty hard to mold more than anything.
Yeah.
But I think Friday's similar.
She has a little bit difference. She's a little bit different.
Esther is the same. Pint Pot looks the same. Vet's Pig is the same. The dog is the same, and Stoker is the same.
Yeah.
So they have even less resculpt than the other teams. And then the other thing that was announced was the release of the exile models in resin, and but most importantly, available individually. So
yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah, I think that kudos to SFG, I'm hard on them sometimes. I think that they realized not too long after those went out, oops, we should not have done this. They were trying to get away from the blisters model, and I think they went a little too far down that route.
Yeah, it was hard. After the initial release, it was hard to get a single model, because at the initial release, everybody was splitting boxes in their gaming group, but there's always a couple of models, the same people will play the same team, so those are harder to get, and you have doubles in your meta and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, it's an awkward distribution model.
Yeah, but at least now they're going to be able to be ordered separately, so.
I think they only had 4 so far, but, they'll come. That just means they're coming, right?
Yeah. The rest will come sooner, hopefully, than later.
Yeah.
I think there's the 5 so far, right? The first 5?
Yeah.
It was 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vet Minx, Vet Hemlock, Vet Gutter, Vet Cinder, and what's the alchemist one?
Calculus.
Calculus?
Yeah.
Vet Calculus, yeah.
Yep, that seems, they'll come. And if they're in the same quality as the current batch of stuff, I think that's
good news.
Nothing to complain about.
It should be good.
The only thing to complain about, I still don't like the puck bases, but you can replace that. Yeah, and I use them anyway because I'm too lazy to get other ones. So.
I rebase everything on fancy resin base, so.
Oh, well.
I don't care much about the puck, but on the miners, it was weird. It's weird because I couldn't get the goal off that, so my goal pulse is different than the rest of the team, though.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it matters that much for the goalpost.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't know if the goalpost is really worth that $5 resin base.
No.
For 50 mil.
That's true. So.
And so that's that's going to be new because it's released in resin. And after that, they showed some new stuff, if I can say it like that.
Yeah, the new stuff, the real new stuff.
We were able to get a preview of the last wave of the captain models for the remaining team that didn't get love so far. And as we talked in the beginning, it's probably because of the caster issue. So hopefully they can make it switch to the new caster and get them released soon, but there's no ETA on those at all.
I have a feeling they aren't announcing it because as soon as they get them, they'll just release them.
Yeah.
As opposed to they're so far in the future that they don't want to release them yet. They just don't know for sure. And as soon as they come in, they'll come out. So.
Yeah, I think they're getting gun shy of announcing stuff coming because it always backfires on them.
Yeah, I think that they must be pretty happy with the new resin sculptor to be announcing these monthly schedules. Because they announced it all through February and then March, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yep. So the first one we saw was the Farmer's third captain. It's her name is Festival.
She's a planter.
Yeah. She's going to be a support healer or something like that.
Yeah, we'll see. Without seeing the rules, it's hard to say how this model will fit.
But that's what they kind of hinted towards at the keynotes.
So we'll see. The farmers already have Grange if they want to just be this really meaty,
grindy team.
Impossible to kill wall of beef. So we'll see how she fits in there. I don't necessarily love her model, but her art,
exactly.
Her art is amazing. It's maybe the best model art in the game that I've seen. but the
The
how
model,
it translated into
yeah.
the model, less so. Hard to tell without it being painted, right?
But the 3D render from the art looks like she got a breast augmentation in the process.
A little bit.
So that's kind of odd, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard
Yeah.
to tell that when you see like 3D renders blown up to presentation size. We'll see when the model comes out. We'll see when we can put it in our hands and see someone paint it up.
Oh yeah, that 3D render, when I click on it and look at it, it really does, her bust really does look bizarre.
I think her face looks kind of weird, but
yeah,
it's really hard to tell in a render.
Well, it's because I think in the art, her proportions are a bit different.
Yeah.
So her bust is smaller, her face is more slender, like it's less round and meaty.
Mm.
Like she's still got like the childbearing hips, as we say.
Right.
But the model itself is curvy like the artwork, but the face is more round, like a heavier person would be.
Which, like...
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just
No. I think it's good that they kind of do that wider range of body types. But, again, it just looks a little weird to me.
Yeah, it's odd. And I'm not sure what the giant underwire is. Like on the artwork, it's just like like an overdress or whatever, and it has her bust is.
It's like a drindle, like a Oktoberfest, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But her bust kind of sits above the girdle, I guess you could say. And the model, the 3D render, it looks like the top of the girdle is actually like a metal bar. Like it looks weird.
Yeah.
Something got lost in translation, I think, a little bit.
Maybe a tiny bit.
Have to see when it's painted too. Painting changes everything.
Yep.
I mean, remember how painting made the original Minerva look like she had a nose?
Yeah. I mean, after they replaced it with one that actually had a nose on it.
Yeah.
So.
Next one was Soma for the Alchemist Guild. Long trench coat, mohawk, fiery mohawk, and the artwork, he has like flames going all out of him, and second set of arm from the flame as well.
That's really weird. I think But I don't know what happened in the artwork. It looks like they've got one picture sitting over the other, and I don't know if that was intentional.
Yeah,
or just...
I think it's intentional.
I do think it's intentional.
Because they mentioned that it's the first skill ball model with 2 cards.
Oh, okay.
So I think that there's some sort of
split personality or something like that.
Yeah, something going on that that would make sense. Because it does look a little weird. I think that they said it's got kind of 2 modes. One which is like a support captain, and the other which is like a fighting captain.
Yeah. The text blurb says that passive support ability, and the other one is extremely high damage output. But after playing the Cooks, I wonder what extreme high damage output will be.
That's, as someone who does not love Midas, who really wants to love Midas but doesn't, I think that having a captain that does some extremely high damage output might be something to pull me into Alchemists, although, let's be real, I'm probably just going to play Engineer still.
Yeah.
So...
But it could be a good complement to Vet Catalyst to have really a very good 2-2 option, or maybe a 4-1 option.
Yeah, just something that is a little bit different, that is proactive and can fight. I just like captains that can fight, what can I say? So, it'll be nice to see an Alchemist captain actually fight someone.
And the last one is your favorite, Paul.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's sarcasm or not.
That's sarcasm.
Yeah, it
definitely
is.
Sarcasm. The whole veteran greed thing, greed riding strongbox. When they teased it, I thought it was a joke.
I think they kind of played it off as a joke. And
then, now it's not a joke, and it kind of angers me. Mostly because I see the Union as a very gritty kind of guild of cutthroats and murderers. And then it's like, oh yeah, there's this guy riding a turtle who's in charge for whatever reason. And the thing is, in the storyline, it doesn't even make sense to have a third captain because it's dissolved, right? It doesn't exist.
Yeah. And
so
their players play for other teams now.
Yeah, exactly.
And they did a whole community event about it.
And the story is that, this guy is trying to rebuild the former glory of the Union or whatever, but the players are gone.
Or dead.
And there's no, or dead, and there's no fluff to support it, so it's weird. I don't know. Yeah. I understand they're just trying to give something to everyone, but this just, bleh.
Yeah, and if he's good, of course, you'll get to see people playing him all over the place. So
yeah, and they'll be like, yeah.
Well,
you could just
from what they hinted, I think he can be good because they mentioned that he's both captain and mascot for your team, and one of his special ability is once per turn a friendly model can take a second activation. So I guess original rage charging twice can be good.
Right, but aside from that scenario. Like, what does the second activation really give you? Because if you have no influence, what are you going to do? It's a second jog. Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it can be good if you have... I mean, there's stuff you can... I was about to say bag of coffers, but you don't get to get coin.
No,
so
you don't have coin.
You could, I don't know, charge someone with minks and then back to the shadows away and then do it again. I don't know. It's hard to say exactly how good it'll be. Maybe he'll be able to take use of his own second activation for something useful.
Yeah, who knows? We don't know enough to really make any conjecture,
or
right?
maybe he could have misdirection as well, like Obelisk and Blackheart, so you can remove the influence from a player and put it on another one, so that could help the second activation.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of speculation, right?
But then you're also spending... Misdirection is 2 or 3? Isn't it 3?
It's 2.
It's 2? So you're spending 2 to get 1? On another model? Like, this seems bizarre.
Yeah, but you're removing from the other model.
Oh, I realize what it entails, Steve. It's just, it seems like a very strange trade-off and not really efficient.
And now Superior Strategy doesn't give back the influence, so it's kind of like Superior Strategy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's way too soon to say anything. So.
Yeah, we don't know anything about it, right? So
the model is kind of goofy. I don't know.
The artwork.
It's the wrong team.
Yeah,
it's the wrong team to have that model in it.
Cartoony than the rest of the artwork.
Yeah. So let's get to the real fun.
Are you talking about the new Minor Guild?
Yeah, I mean, there's the new Minor Guild, and then there's the other thing, and we can do either. Right. Both are pretty fun.
Okay, so let's do the Minor Guild. We'll get that out of the way, and then we'll go to the other thing. So, the new Minor Guild for the farmers, we have the Shepherds were announced. Ooh.
So I gotta say, I don't like the farmers. I think their aesthetics are fine. I don't like how they play. But I think this guild looks super cool.
Yeah, I actually really like the look. I don't like Shearer so much.
Yeah, I mean, they really wanted to make an Alan Shearer reference. They really, really badly wanted to make a reference to a soccer player. And it's like, cool, you made a guy who looks like a guy. Okay. Apparently that's a famous pose he did. Cool. Like, this means nothing to someone who doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
1990s Premiership players.
Well, it's like they did with the limited edition Bolt that does the same pose as Usain Bolt.
Except Usain Bolt is way cooler than pretty much anyone who's ever played in the English Premier League. Send all of your hate mail to whatever the email for this podcast is, where it'll be promptly thrown in the bin. So, I think that personally, my favorite, they have 2 border collies, which is awesome. They've got dogs on their team, and they may not be the mascots. So,
and they may actually act independently.
Yeah,
as 2 different models.
That would be sweet.
Apparently at Nova, it was hinted at that these guys would be the first team to have 7 models on the pitch at a time.
That is neat. And by first, they mean first, since that's what happened in season
with Everson
one with Everson Green.
Well, Everson Green, yeah.
Let's pretend that whole nightmare didn't exist.
That's
because I'm sure they're trying to.
And who
and
knows?
then they've got someone riding what appears to be the world's largest
ram.
sheep.
yeah.
I'm like, that's a big boy.
Well, it's an awesome model, though. From the 3D
did
render.
they show the model?
Yep.
Yeah, the 3D
Oh,
render. We saw the
Yeah.
3D render of
Ram.
Ram.
Like
And I much prefer that over a tank.
yeah. And
In
of
terms
course,
of fitting
and
in with the game.
it does. I agree with you. And it has the added benefit of every time you play him, every time you activate him, you can sing Bob Seger's Like a Rock, like those Dodge Ram commercials.
Oh wow, that's a stretch. Don't give Steve ideas, please. I have to stop him from singing as it is every time he activates models.
Yeah. These are the things I think of. How can I troll my opponents?
Exactly.
So you have few opponents, is what you're saying.
I actually do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, there you some insight into there. That.
Yeah, I look at this team and I go, again, you have to see how they play on the table, and they're probably going to do something like planters and reapers, because they kind of would have to. I think they said Bushel and Vet Honor are the playdowns. Vet Honor is a fantastic model, or card, maybe less so, but the model is gorgeous. So
and she has a dog.
She also has a dog.
Yeah, so they're going to be just Animal City. It's going to be like, look at all these animals. And if you get to play those two dogs at the same time, I mean, I'm going to play those two dogs at the same time every time. So, good fun, thematic thing. I really like I said earlier, that they keep doing, like, good centerpiece models.
Yeah.
Like that Ram is a great centerpiece. They're fun. They're not grim. They're just kind of like these funny, happy animals, and it's like a menagerie rolling onto the field. So we'll see how that looks. I'm excited. March is sadly a long ways away.
Yeah. It's going to be the first minor guild since the minor.
Yeah, in a year.
Yeah.
Which is like...
Because minors were released on March 1st.
Yeah, and I mean, Cooks were technically released on March 16th or something, so...
Yeah, but we knew about them, and they were spoiled before.
Yeah. Weren't they delayed from the previous, September or something?
Yeah, they sure were. So, this will be the first brand new guild in over a year. So, excited, we'll see what happens. It's a long ways off. There's a lot of time left to go before we really see what it is. And then, if they finished at that point, if they finished the resin re-releases of everything else, and they've got this team, which they showed the new packaging, so I assume they're going to keep doing them in resin.
I think they announced that they will be in resin, those, for the I was going to say the Rams, but for the Shepherd, probably because of the Ram as well.
I think that at that point, if they release that team in resin, it's just because they're releasing things in resin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what happened is, and again, this is just conjecture, but the reason we all got free farmers at Adepticon, and the reason everyone got free, teams at the
Falconers and Ratcatchers,
the UK Nationals,
they got every team or whatever.
They have warehouses full of these plastic teams that just aren't selling, right?
Yeah, the economy scale didn't work out.
Minimum order quantity from Asia is too high, and the popularity of the game nosedived, right, after season 2. So,
I think that they just went too big and bold with blacksmiths and farmers. I think.
Well, I think they figured because of the growth they had, it was going to be linear, right? Like, it's going to keep going like this, it'll be good. And then it wasn't good.
Yeah. And then they had some delays, and then blah, blah, blah. We all know the story at this point. Yeah. So, I just think that everything will be in resin. And my point is, if they get this out in March, they've done this schedule so far, maybe we'll start seeing more teams. If they can bash out 2 or 3 more teams next year, they'll be done all the minors.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, fingers crossed. Something to look forward to.
And another thing to look forward is November for new stuff.
Yet the other new thing.
Some new game plan cards. Finally.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Finally.
Thank God. These ones have... The card set is very clearly version 1 of the concept.
Yeah.
And they are very long in the tooth, and I'm very bored of playing with these cards.
I'm bored of the fact that most of them are a penalty to your influence.
Yeah, they clearly thought the effects were better than they are, and it's like...
Yeah, they overestimated the effects.
They should have just taken all the -1s, turned them into 0s, and then taken everything else and made it +1 and +2, and just, having it be a penalty is like, ugh. It just sucks. And it's ironic because it worked out that the best cards in the deck, which, in my opinion, sees the initiative and then the one that gives you +1 tack. Those are the two best cards in the deck. They're both 0s. It's like, what did you even do? So,
well, and Wingback and the one charge less are 0 as well.
0s as well. Yeah, all the really good ones that have the best effects are also 0s. So it's like, ugh. And
the one that should help you do more goal scoring, the one that gives you free showboating.
That's the worst card in the deck.
Because it's a minus, so you're penalized to try to play the ball and score.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like this is a soccer game. Never mind.
Oh,
wait.
Yeah. Well, we've seen a couple of them so far.
Yeah, we saw 3 of them. The first one we saw was pick up the pace. So this is a +6/+0, and the player that has the initiative choose a squatty that has +2/+2 move, and then the other player choose a squatty to have +2/+2 move.
Good card, solid. Yeah, I like it.
It's pretty nice. And the other one is raw enthusiasm. And it's basically give the same ability as Champ.
So just make Champ totally ununique and bad.
Well, yeah, if you have the
less good, I think.
Okay,
less different.
Right. Yeah,
and
that's a good ability.
It's gonna help you to help if you have a jail model and
if you know you're gonna lose someone, right?
Yeah, at least. If you get a model jailed, you just throw that card down, put 4 influence on your model, and be like, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
They're probably going to kill your model, and then you get to come back on with full influence, and you don't lose your activation or anything, so.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not losing the activation. That's really good.
Pretty strong card.
And the other one was Never Say Die, and this one is +2 for the momentum, momentum, and +1 influence. And each time a friendly model suffered the taken out condition, the friendly team gains +2 momentum point.
That's really good. That's a really kind of get back into the, you're already behind.
Exactly, it compensates for the momentum that the other one is generating.
Yeah, that really hurts my union lineup with the in the momentum race, right?
Yes, because you're like, oh, I killed you and got 3 momentum, or maybe 4, and you got 2. Sweet. So, you don't get as far ahead, and having that momentum lets the person who's already probably behind, you can spend it on healing, you can spend it on whatever, you can get back in the game. So, I'm glad.
Anything lets people get back in the game, I don't like, unless it lets me get back in the game, in which case it's okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that the thing is, looking at these 3 cards, I'm kind of like, okay, this is more like what this concept should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully the rest of the set lives up to the expectations.
Yeah, it's going to be a set of 18 again.
I remember when we first tried the original cards in our group, how we universally disliked them and thought that would never end up being the final product. And then it was, and we were like, oh.
It was better than plot cards, that's for sure.
Yeah, what were
the plot cards were just like, you played them when you got 3, you get to keep 3 of 5, and they were just like in-game effects that triggered whenever.
Right.
And those
there's a few different things they had us try back then, though, right?
There was the guild identities, and
it was the guild identities that I liked.
Yeah, they were neat.
I thought those were more interesting than these cards, but whatever. The
Yeah,
new cards should breathe some life into it and fix a lot of the problems.
Yeah, and if they're good, hey, you know what? Good stuff for the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wish they were coming a little sooner, but hey, you know.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
year.
did they say anything about the butchers in resin?
They didn't.
No, they
kind of said, I, from what I've pieced together, it's the same thing as the captain. It's like, look, we got a couple models that weren't good quality. We know, kind of thing. I don't know what's going to happen with that whole run, but I imagine it'll happen when it happens, kind of thing.
It's going to pop up on the store and...
Good thing no one wants to play Butchers right now, so.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they've all jumped ship, right?
yeah, they're like, oh, this team sucks. And now they just play Union. So.
It's so dumb because that team still doesn't suck by any means.
Oh, no, but, you know.
Well, that boar is nerfed. So.
Vetbor is nerfed, but Ox is still really good.
I know.
Fitbor's still pretty good. He's just not an auto win.
It's hard to... It'd be hard to play him if you were used to him because he was so good. He must feel like so completely gimped now. Even though he's still, I think, average.
Yeah.
He just feels like he's completely useless by comparison, right?
Yeah, he was too good.
Oh, no kidding.
Let's never speak of him again.
And I think that's a wrap for the Nova announcement.
I think that's pretty much a wrap for the show, unless there's something
Well,
Kevin, you would like to add, Steve? Is there
I would like to plug the next event in Montreal.
Oh, sure. Go right ahead.
It's going to be the first Pete Williamson Memorial in Montreal. So it's going to
rest in peace, Pete.
Yeah.
You'll be missed.
It's going to be on October 5th at the Abyss. For those who don't know, it's because it's a format that was made because Peter Williamson, a guy from New Zealand, is always taking 6 model when he goes to tournament and doesn't change his lineup ever. And so the format kind of got invented in his honor. But he's not dead.
Yeah. No, he's definitely not.
He's not dead. And actually, he's doing that at the WTC.
Yeah, he did only take 6 models to WTC. And for reference, as I was the inventor of this format, as I like to tell everybody, the best part was that he played in that event. He played in his own memorial tournament in the first one. So
it was at SteamCon, right?
SteamCon UK last year, yeah. So
and Sean Dooley ran one at Adepticon as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except he called it something different because he got it wrong.
He called it the Invitational.
Yeah. And
so it was like, Memorial and Invitational, which was funny because it was not Invitational, nor is
it really a memorial.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not a memorial as well.
Yeah. And I just saw that and I was like, you know what? It's not, it's better that it's better this way. So,
Julie's a great guy, but he gets a lot of flack for stuff. Less now.
Yeah.
Because he had kind of a rough start at Steamforge, right? So.
Yeah. But anyway, I really like this format. I think it's really fun. I think you actually have to think before you walk up to the table and be like, what are my 6 models going to be?
Yeah.
And you'll pretty quickly realize whether or not you did a good job picking those 6 models.
So it should be fun. It's on October 5th at the Abyss, and it starts at 10.
Yeah, I like these 10 a.m. start times. Much better than like the 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. start times.
Yeah. I have a tournament to plug, which I don't know when this is going live, so it might not matter. But it's next Sunday, the 15th in Cambridge, Ontario, at Forbes Hobbies. Just a tournament. This
will go live before then. It'll probably go live like Thursday of this week. Okay. Maybe Wednesday if I'm lucky. But it'll go up this week, so you'll give it a few days of head start there. Yeah, alright. Well then, the September 15th in Cambridge, Ontario. If you're in Southern Ontario, come out. It'll be fun. I think we're at 12 people so far, maybe 13. So, looking like a good turnout. Nice. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, we don't run many tournaments, but when we do, everyone comes. Well, it's good that you have a strong community.
It's just spread out.
Well, it's Toronto. That's
Yeah, I mean, it's like I have to drive an hour and a half west, but it's we don't have too many game stores in the city, which is really weird. And there's not many that even have minis at them, so we're kind of limited. People don't like to drive into the city and pay to park, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's Toronto is not very gaming friendly for that.
No. Pretty good for Magic, but not so good for anything else.
Well, that's a whole other discussion, right? Magic is just a card game, so you can play it anywhere. It's
yeah, exactly.
Table.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
And rent costs so much in Toronto that the square footage miniatures require, they're just a losing proposition.
Yep. So.
Silly.
Yep, it's how it is. We make do.
It's the same in New York City, right? There's no gaming stores in New York City. They're all outside. Yep.
I imagine it's the same in most big cities.
Yeah, Montreal being the weird exception.
I said big city, thank you.
Hey, we get Okay, we're not Toronto-sized, but we do have, 3.5 million people? We're not exactly a tiny city.
I was being,
a Toronto.
Look, we know yeah, exactly. You know how Canada is.
Yeah, I know. All right, we're rambling, so let's call it.
Sounds good.
Kevin, thanks very much for being on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And this is like your trial by fire. We'll see how you do. We'll see if we like you. We'll call you back again if we're interested.
We'll see if this podcast goes up. See if I don't delete my recording, and then you have to, somehow have to ad-lib it.
We'll have the voice of Kevin Stewart played by Antoine or something. Delightful French accent.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, it's Antoine speaking up. It's like, what the hell? So.
All right.
Sounds good.
Well, guys, we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Bye, geeks. Thanks for listening to Geeks of the North. If you want to contact us, you can email us at geeksofthenorth@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/geeksofthenorth, or follow us on Twitter at Geeks of the North. You can follow me, Paul, at PRFilio, Antoine at Eltonio Berg, Steve at B_Steve, and if you really feel the need, I guess you can follow Yom. He's at Yomasta. Breaks and outro music by Ladrave. You can listen to them at ladrave.bandcamp.com. See you next time, geeks.
Thank you for checking out a United Geeks Network family member. If you enjoyed it and are looking for other online media with a geek culture slant, head over to UnitedGeeksNetwork.com, where you will find All Us Geeks, a podcast that discusses board games, movies, television, comics, Kickstarter, and many other forms of geek culture. The United Geeks Network. You can broadcast your geekiness at UnitedGeeksNetwork.com.